Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Uh, I would like to start with Honorable Coulibaly. Burkina Faso has been doing a lot of work on innovation and growing the technology in their country. So in your view, what is the need for Burkina Faso to keep a pace with the fast-moving global trends on ICT, and what kind of infrastructural investment is required?
I would want to first of all thank the Minister Matiang'i, through whom the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya, through their hospitality, has been extended to us since we came. I thank as well the organizers for the successful organization of this conference. Thank you as well, the young people, for your engagement. Burkina Faso is a landlocked country, so its challenge in relation to technology and technology for communication is very important. But this is a country that is in the middle of Africa, so it gives us quite some advantage in terms of infrastructure and investment. The first thing for me is training on skills that we need in order to achieve this societal transformation which goes with this technology. As a matter of fact, we have some experiences in terms of connectivity and improvement of technologies in our country. But all that said, there is certainly a basis on the quality and the speed of connectivity as a challenge. We have raised here the amount of data that is circulating today. The aspect of connectivity to internet is actually the first or the critical investment that we need to work on. In that respect, we have a number of projects that I'll bring up in a while. We have also in our country a second challenge that is very critical, actually access to energy. We have said that we are a landlocked country without big rivers for production of energy. So electricity is a challenge to us. And today the government is really based on solar energy. And we have put in place 3 strategies in that regard. We privilege the independent sources of energy, working with solar energy and all that is applicable to the rural areas. With the urban centers, the big urban centers, the towns, we privilege, we actually prioritize supply of electricity in conjunction with our neighboring countries, such as Ivory Coast. Finally, with regard to schooling, all primary schools, we are projecting to have independent sources of energy that will be actually sourced by solar panels, even for the teachers and learners who should be able to access our technology through connections, even through television. So that is a bit of the investment that we have prioritized, and we are planning to move in that direction with the new government that is in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In the same sense, Mr. Maredi, and talking about investment, considering that South Africa is one of the preferred partners for international science and technology cooperation, receiving 15% annual R&D funding from international investors, what systems are in place to leverage that into a transfer of technology and knowledge?
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed, as Department of Science and Technology in South Africa, we guided by the overarching framework of government in South Africa, which is the National Development Plan. And my colleagues from the Departments of Basic Education and Telecoms have referred to that in the past days. In that plan, there is one outcome that talks to science and technology and innovation. And we have a vision to say by 2030, one of the proxy indicators that we want to improve is that we should be having a PhD production rate of 100 per million of population per annum. So that compares to OECD countries, the leading countries in science and technology. And therefore, our focus, even in terms of international cooperation and the funding that we leverage, is to build that fundamental base in order to be competitive in the scientific and technological endeavors. So we do this via a number of instruments. We have a framework that supports foreign direct investment in R&D in particular. And we do that with a number of multinationals, especially in the ICT space. For example, we have ongoing partnerships with companies like IBM, like Cisco, but the partnership is structured in such a way that we support R&D activities in South Africa such that the kind of IP that is generated from those activities then has mutual benefit for both the country as well as the investor, which will be a multinational company in this instance. So we're seeing a lot of progress in that space, and many other companies we're having discussions with. Microsoft, initially we've had partnership with them. We're looking at reviving that. Companies like HP, companies like Google. So within that framework, we also leverage our existing policy instruments. For example, we have an industrial policy framework that says companies who do business in South Africa have certain obligations. So IBM have actually set a precedence in that space, because for the first time, we leverage that instrument to then invest in R&D, and IBM have established the second research and development laboratory in Africa, the first being in Kenya. Now in South Africa we have the second, which is the 12th global in IBM. So this is a very big gain from our perspective, and quite a significant amount of investment have been achieved in that regard. So it's about getting those partnerships, not for the sake of investing only, but actually investing in a manner that benefits both the country from R&D perspective, from science and technology advancement, as well as also benefiting the investing parties.
Thank you. Mr. Mwage, we know the President Lungus has committed to systematically invest in ICT infrastructure. Has Zambia started looking at potential industry partners who can provide this knowledge and technology? And what progress has been made to date regarding partnership with industry on ICT innovation and the leveraging of funds to develop Zambian technology and e-commerce industry?
Was that to me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In Namibia, we are also guided by the national framework, and that is our government vision 2030, which has enshrined that one of the key pillars for Namibia to get to the industrialized nation and knowledge-based economy is the ICT. So in Namibia, ICT is being implemented in various ways, whereby we have policies that which is being developed, and through that policy development, we are guided to indicate what areas that we need to concentrate on, and what are the initiatives that need to take place. So we have provided various ICT equipment in schools, and also we have in place the ICT currently at 1/5 of all primary schools and secondary schools in Namibia equipped with ICT, and that represents the 20% of all the schools in Namibia.
Thank you very much. And talking about schools in Zambia, ICT is now compulsory subject in Zambia schools. What is the current capacity of trained teachers and computers to deliver on this?
Is it Zambia or Namibia?
Zambia.
I'm not from Zambia.
Sorry?
I'm not from Zambia.
No.
Okay.
Madagascar.
Ah? La question est adressée à moi ou?
I'm very sorry.
Oui, j'ai pas.
No. I confused the question, sorry. So, the question was for Madagascar, and it was regarding schools. So, how far has the progress regarding the digitalization of school books progressed? And what is the impact of the Ministry of National Education's committed to ensure the local Malagasy content?
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. Tout d'abord,
Thank you, Chair. I would want to first of all indicate the context, the policy context in Madagascar. The Ministry of Education for the last 3 years has undertaken a policy to promote technologies. That means that priority has been given to ICT in our schools. In that regard, the ministry has moved forward to put in place resource centers in all institutions, learning institutions. This year, in the resource centers for primary schools, we had quite a number of them that were put in place for primary schools and junior secondary schools. So the objective of these programs is to promote of the science lessons or subjects, and even availing teaching resources for colleagues who are teachers in these schools. Among the activities, I need to highlight that we have the introduction of computer tablets in schools. These tablets are connected to internet, which allows our teachers to undertake research for documents that enable them teach and even adjust their teaching methods accordingly. So that leads to the improvement of teaching. This program targets high schools, and actually 11,000 tablets were distributed across schools, and this tablet contains learning resources for teaching, for reference materials and information, actually, so that the teachers are able to take advantage of computer and ICT to enable them adhere to the standards and requirements of the Ministry of Education. We have also put in place the FADEP project, distant training of teachers, particularly in actually promoting distance learning and training, where we will have mobile centers for putting in place tutorials targeting trainers. We also have, in relation to the distance training for teachers to target various sectors to cover all the 22 regions of Madagascar. Thank you. That is briefly what we have.
Thank you very much. So we've been talking about policies, and I would like to go more detail into projects which are interesting. So, Minister, could you please share with us the key projects, including satellite connection with Luxembourg and the World Bank fiber project, and their importance, please?
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. As I said in my talk recently, the key challenge for us is in connectivity and energy. In the area of energy, we have a huge program with the Taiwan Corporation, and as well with other partners such as African Development Bank to put in place the solar panel system. We have new constructions of primary schools in Burkina Faso. But we need to actually repoint out the context. We have actually electrification that is about 16%, and that means construction of schools, primary schools, which are primarily located in the rural areas, were not automatically connected to electricity. And that means that once night falls, there weren't activities that could go on, and all activities were happening without electricity. In the educational policy in Burkina Faso, we have put as a matter of priority 7 needs to equip, systematically equip all new infrastructures or in primary schools with electricity and ICT. With regard to connectivity, I want to remind you that we are a landlocked country, and the first main project that we had, and which was to operationalize the backbone project by the government for the last 5 years, which is hinged on connectivity, was actually to pull from the fiber optics from neighboring countries, Ivory Coast to Burkina Faso. This project is financed in partnership with World Bank and as well as the African Development Bank. But because it will be a long way to actually realize it is drawing a fiber cable all the way from Ivory Coast, we have a second major project, which is a partnership project with between public and private sector, which will avail access through satellite connection. This satellite connection, in the context of a private-public partnership, we will have a priority for government administration and for connectivity of universities in Burkina Faso. And right now, the rest of the bulk that remains would be sold in order to break even, so that the partnership can be well managed, so that the government can use part of it for its government functions, and then that would be given free. The remainder would be given free of charge to learning institutions. But the surplus would be sold, which would be about 20%, would be sold to break even the cost of operation. So these are the key major projects that I would want to share with you in the direction of improving the situation in Burkina Faso.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maredi, in the talking about programs, specific programs, can you please share with us how is MLab, Southern Africa Startup Accelerator, helping youth or young ICT entrepreneurs, and what role the private sector can play to assist in these regards?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, as you indicated, MLab is a startup accelerator. It's actually a mobile application laboratory, Southern Africa. And the vision is to have it a footprint in the major part of Southern Africa. It's an initiative initially started as a joint venture between the Department of Science and Technology with the support of World Bank, InfoDev, Finnish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nokia. But currently, the Department of Science and Technology is the main funder. Indeed, the main aim is to actually encourage the aspiring young entrepreneurs who want to play in the mobile application space. So it's a platform, it's a shared space situated at the Innovation Hub in Pretoria, supporting and reaching out to aspirant techno entrepreneurs who want to play in the space of mobile application development. So currently we're funding some programs across the value chain. So it includes skills development, where these young entrepreneurs or aspirant entrepreneurs are given the opportunity or are trained in coding in the first place, and in web design, in app development. And then from there they are taken to the next step where business incubation is provided through various support services, and from there into the market and helping them into penetrating various markets. Currently, in the past year, we've supported about 25 SMMEs. 5 of them, I can say, have actually graduated. They are now self-sustaining. The rest are still going through the process, and we're looking at taking even more of those into the system in the coming year or two. Over and above that, because it's now in the capital city, in the Gauteng province, we're looking at expanding it to other provinces. The next step is to take it to 3 other provinces, especially those that are in the remote areas of the country. And by doing that, we're hoping we can achieve greater impact. Also, the other outcome that we're seeing is that over and above creating those startups or supporting those startups and helping them to graduate into full-fledged SMMEs, there's also opportunity to create employment. And in that program, over the past years, I think more than 100 jobs have been created. And this is actually a good positive sign for us to say, if we can expand this program, we can really achieve even greater impact. So what we seek in terms of partnership, and I think this idea has been punted in the past 2 days by the private sector partners in this event, Microsoft and Huawei, where things are going now, the issue around, getting skilled young people in the ICT space, that aspect of coding, robotics, maker space, and so on. So I think that whole value chain is important, and what we're seeking to do as we move forward with this MLab process is for partners, private sector players, to come on board, partner with us, and really assist in that framework of getting this whole value chain. Of course, linking up with the school system, our players in the education space, but also the out-of-school youth, targeting those so that we can get them skills or give them skills in this computational thinking, including even the deep analytic skills, because as indicated earlier, data is the future, big data, big analytics. So we're looking at that. We're already setting up programs in data science in the department, and we want to link that to these platforms such as the MLab with the private sector players. Google have already played some role in the MLab, Ericsson, but we're looking for more partners in this space. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Mr. Rabeson, as you may be aware, we are coming from South America, and in our NDA is education. So we would like to to know what is your view on the South-South cooperation to generate knowledge transfer into the education system.
I don't know whether you are confusing my name.
No. It's for.
Huh?
Sorry, Mr.
Toujours Namibie.
So, again, I was sharing with you that our company is coming from South America, from Argentina and Brazil, and within our NDA is education, because one of our shareholders was funded by 8 teachers. So we are collaborating here in Africa in the South-South cooperation. So I would like to understand if you have a view on the South-South cooperation to generate knowledge transfer into the education system.
Merci.
Thank you. Personally, I don't have much to say about the South-South cooperation because I don't have experience on this cooperation. But I would say that the cooperation South-South is of critical importance because this cooperation will enable us to have a mutual sharing of knowledge on the best practices and experiences, new technologies and innovations, and even knowledge. I think we need now to develop in African continent on how to take advantage of this cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Laban, the Vision 2030 envisages ICT literacy and computer studies, workshops, and the procurement of ICT equipment for schools, libraries, and teaching resources centers. So, how will this impact on technology transfer?
Thank you very much. I think this is one of the great opportunity for technology transfer, because in our country, the Ministry of Education has established various libraries in almost 14 regions. And all the libraries in all 14 regions are fully equipped with computer equipments, and they are open to children in schools and also to the communities. And through that one, the community and everybody can have an access to information. And through information, I think it will enhance the information technology in our country. And also, we are in partnership with we developed and the implementation plan called TECNA, which is a comprehensive strategy for integration of ICT across the entire education sector. And as I have said at the beginning, we have also developed ICT policy, and this ICT policy, as well as TECNA now, plans they are under review as for this year, so that the world development on e-learning and 21st century e-learning is also integrated. So in that way, we will able to assist and accommodate each and everybody in our country. But however, we have challenges. We are also faced with a lot of challenges in technology transfers in our country. And as it was indicated by various panelists, the issue of connectivity, the issue of energy, and also supply of electricity to some of our schools and so on, and some of our facilities. It's also a challenge to us. But however, I think as a government, we are looking forward so that we make an ICT and technology transfer as a priority and also be part of our budget in the Ministry of Education, especially under the Department of ICT, which is in the Ministry of Education at the head office.
In the same sense, I understand Namibia has a Friends of Education program, correct? And I understand also that this is linked to ICT and to the industry, to the ICT and industry. Can you please briefly explain or expand on the Namibia's Friends of Education program, and how is the government planning to partner with the industry?
Thank you very much. The Namibian Friends to Education is an initiative by our Honorable Minister of Education, Arts and Culture, Honorable Katrina Hansi-Maro, when she took over the office. This is a program that is looking to bring together all Namibians, being government, parastatal, or private sectors, so that they can at least meet under one roof to map the way out, how to assist and also fund the education initiatives and program and projects in Namibia. And ICT is of no exception in this regard. So the ministry would like to bring on board everybody so that any initiative that comes up from the Ministry of Education, not only for the ministry, but it becomes in a country kind of project and initiative.
Thank you very much. I would like to also touch the point of, or keep expanding on technology transfer. And Minister, if you can share with us, how is Burkina Faso encouraging the transfer of technology from industry to advance e-government, digital migration, and e-commerce?
Okay, merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. With regard to transfer of technology, I would want to start by just citing something to highlight the need. I bought a telephone as I went to the United States, but I didn't have time to actually use it. And then I went to Burkina Faso with it. Getting there, I realized I could not use it because I needed to have put a certain code, which required me to have used it for a certain period in the US. So then I just took it to the market, and they were able to develop it for me to be in a position to use it. That experience shows that even if they were able to do that, they couldn't go further because their knowledge were not well formalized. And so the knowledge that has been acquired through certain methods, certain scientific rigors. So here I would want to point out by technology transfer the aspect of training, which for me is very critical with regard to this idea of transfer of technology. If we don't have the skills to be able to take charge and integrate these transfer of technologies, we will not achieve the technology transfer that we are talking about. In Burkina Faso, what we started to prepare this transfer, because we are not yet there, we have started this year the construction of 2 scientific schools in our country in partnership with World Bank and in partnership also with businesses in the area of technology, information technology in the Taiwan Republic of China. I think it is through this path that we will have the real transfer of technology. Now, beyond that, still on the issue of technology transfer, we have prioritized, first of all, the cooperation, South-South cooperation, because we believe that between ourselves, our colleagues that are here can confess that what has already been done in Kenya, for example, or in Cameroon, and which has worked very well, we don't need to redo it in Burkina Faso. We should just be able, in the context of South-South partnership, just to borrow from what has worked, and then we move very quickly to move to further steps. That is my understanding of technology transfer. And of course, in that general context of training, we need to envisage with enterprises to put in place certain technologies in our place. I can talk of telephone businesses, mobile telephone points, and even internet connection points or managers of satellite connections. These companies should train young people on the technology that they are using in order to offer these services to our population. So that is how I envisage technology transfer. Thank you.
Next time you buy a device made in Africa from us and you will not have that problem. But talking about developing the skills of youth looking forward, Mr. Maredi, do you have any plans to leverage the Technology Innovation Agency to promote more youth-owned technology enterprises?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just to give a context, the Technology Innovation Agency is an entity of the Department of Science and Technology. It's a government entity. Its mandate is simply to help bridge the gap between R&D and commercialization of technology. So, having recognized earlier on that R&D is happening in the country, but the bulk of it do not, translate into commercial products or services. Therefore, there was the need to address this so-called innovation chasm or the innovation gap. So TIA exists in that context. Yes, a number of programs already are being implemented in TIA. One of them that addresses the youth specifically is called the Youth Technology Innovation Fund, which is basically targeting young tech startups who are aged between 18 or 35. Oh, sorry. Okay, who are aged between 18 and 35. And the model that is being used there is to allocate them with some kind of vouchers, which they can then use to access different forms of assistance or support. It could be certification or standard compliance, or maybe business development by way of business plan, or marketing and so on. So that is one aspect. But the other program that we're supporting through the Technology Innovation Agency is called the Technology Stations Program, which is a sort of a facility which is based at different universities and universities of technology in the country, whereby we look at different sectors and the strength of a particular university. And the facility is set up which is accessible to SMMEs. And most of the time, these are youth-owned SMMEs. And currently, I think there's about 1,200 youth that have benefited out of that program. And out of that, 55 of those are youth-owned SMMEs, and others are individuals. What it offers in different sectors, it could be in tooling and engineering, agro-processing, and of course ICT and electronics. So we have different technology stations and openly available to youth enterprises, tech enterprises, to use the platform to improve their manufacturing processes, to improve their technology development skills, to access processing equipment and so on, and therefore enable them to be competitive in the market. And the last one is technology localization programs, which links to a huge infrastructure build program in the country. for example, in the energy sector, power stations, or in the rail sector. When those procurements are required and there's multinational companies involved, the program then says part of the components or subsystems that goes into those infrastructure programs must be localized, and then we support local enterprises to participate in those kind of programs.
Thank you. We know Madagascar has been working on developing solutions for local needs, local solutions for local needs. This is linked to homegrown innovation. So how is the development of homegrown innovation as a result of digital technology transforming education in Madagascar?
Oui, merci.
Thank you. As I mentioned a while ago, the first activities related to integration of ICT in learning institutions, computer studies, and equipping these institutions with tablets. And so these programs are these centers are incubation centers to test the installation of activities that are linked to the integration of digital libraries. So these digital libraries has been put in place by the Ministry of Education. These library is in collaboration with the Directorate of Information and Technology, whose objective is actually to consolidate teaching and learning resources for teachers and learners. These libraries touch on the key subjects, that is mathematics, physics, chemistry, and pure sciences, English and French. So here we have we have actually launched these projects in about 40 schools, and we continue launching it in various areas, and we are targeting all the schools in the country, all the high schools in the country. In addition, I need to say that the Ministry of Education in Madagascar has participated in international conferences on free education resources. At the moment, the policy, the national policy on these learning resources targets to avail free resources for learners and teachers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank the panelists and the opportunity of chairing this session. It was a pleasure, and it reinforced indeed the vision of our company and commitment in working across Africa. Finally, we are pleased to close this panel with a brief video. Thank you.